Welcome back, Focus Learners. We're skipping the long intros today because, honestly, we're dropping right into one of the most chaotic and intense climaxes in Clover Kingdom history. Right from the jump, we are looking at a world literally tearing itself apart. The skies are flashing with every color imaginable, and an ancient, deeply personal war has just violently erupted right in the heart of humanity's stronghold. Just think about this quote for a second. The screams of the innocent echoed in every street. That's heavy, right? This isn't just your standard magic duel. It is a full-blown catastrophe. The royal capital is burning to the ground. Magic is indiscriminately tearing through the air, and what we're witnessing is a brutal clash between humans and elves, a war born from centuries of unresolved pain. Section 1. The Kingdom in Chaos. A Civil War Reborn. So, the radical group known as the Eye of the Midnight Sun, they actually pulled it off. They hit their dark objective by executing this massive reincarnation spell, and the kingdom completely collapses. And why? Because the souls of fallen elves are violently possessing the bodies of the kingdom's own protectors, the Magic Knights. Imagine the incredible emotional weight of this for Asta and the Black Bulls right now. They're racing from one burning street to the next, desperately trying to save civilians, but the enemies they are fighting to the death are literally their own friends and allies. It's an absolute psychological nightmare on top of a physical one. But look, amidst all this high-octane chaos, Asta isn't just swinging his sword blindly. There is a precise, logical method to his madness here. Step 1, he's got to land a direct strike with his anti-magic sword. Step 2, that strike specifically cuts the reincarnation magic binding the elf to the human. And step 3, the trapped soul is freed and the knight comes back to their senses. Alongside Noel and Finral, Asta uses this exact formula, growing stronger through sheer desperation and his absolute faith in the process. But of course, just as they start making progress, the stakes skyrocket. Lick's ultimate objective violently shifts. He's right at the center of the kingdom, and this is no longer just about getting vengeance against the humans who wronged his people. No, this is about total apocalyptic destruction. He wants to gather his loyal followers, complete an ancient ritual, and open a portal straight to the underworld. He quite literally wants to wipe the slate clean and destroy everything. And this brilliantly illustrates how our heroes step up to that apocalyptic threat. On one side, you have Asta, pushed completely beyond his limits, his body trembling as he awakens the dormant demonic power inside his grimoire just to withstand Licht's blinding light blades. Meanwhile, Yuno is experiencing his own profound evolution. The elf spirit inside him, Licht's child from a past life, finally accepts him. Yuno fuses those tragic memories with his own, using that pain not as a burden, but as fuel to evolve his wind magic. Side by side, they prove that their bond is far stronger than any ancient curse. Section 2. Awakening of Past Legends. Unsealing the First Wizard King. Okay, so right in the middle of this dense, shimmering magic, Secra starts unraveling a deeply hidden past spanning 5 centuries. Let's rewind. 500 years ago, a terrible betrayal occurred, wiping out the elves, despite the desperate efforts of a remarkably kind human named Lumiere. To save him, Secra used forbidden sealing magic, turning Lumiere into solid stone. For 500 years, he has watched the centuries pass in complete silence. And now, in the present day, as the kingdom burns around them, Secra finally breaks that seal. Lumiere, Silvermillion Clover, the first wizard king himself, opens his eyes after hundreds of years. The kingdom's absolute oldest legend is standing once more. And honestly, he hasn't awoken a moment too soon because he's desperately needed to face the true hidden threat that has been pulling the strings for half a millennium. Section 3. The word Soul Devil, the true mastermind revealed. Now, what's really interesting about this pivot in the story is that what we thought was a tragic civil war is actually something far more sinister. Enter Zagred. Deep within the ruins, this devil emerges from the shadows, and his mere presence is so toxic, it literally distorts the magic in the air. He is the word Soul Devil, a being capable of shaping reality simply by speaking. Whatever leaves his mouth becomes the absolute truth. It is a terrifying, reality-bending power designed entirely to turn hope into despair in a fraction of a second. But humanity and elfkind? They are going down without a fight. Look at this ultimate alliance.
You have Licht wielding dual swords of blazing light, Lumiere summoning massive ancient magic runes, Asta aggressively cutting through the devil's reality-warping spells, Yuno matching his incredible speed with his wind spirit, and Zagred risking her own life to physically bind the devil's body. It is an epic, colorful, ground-shaking battle. Every single strike paints the sky with explosions of light and darkness, as they fight a monster that literally summons beasts just by saying their names.
The devil mocks their mortal efforts, but Asta completely refuses to yield. The narrative hits this huge climax. For the first time, he embraced the darkness within his grimoire, not as a curse, but as a part of himself. Asta's eyes burn a piercing red. A dark, intense aura erupts and covers his entire body. He taps into that sheer demonic power, slices entirely through the devil's word magic, and delivers the final, shattering blow. The word devil screams as its form breaks apart, and finally fades into absolute silence. Section 4. Breaking the Hatred Cycle, the End of a Centuries-Old War. As the blinding lights of the battle fade and the dust starts to settle, this really somber quiet washes over the ruined kingdom. The resurrected elves look at the humans standing before them, bruised, battered, exhausted, and realize something profound. This isn't the kingdom that betrayed them 500 years ago. The humans they spent centuries hating just risk their lives to save them from a devil. That realization just washes away their vengeance. The cycle of hatred, which we now know was born entirely from a devil's manipulation, is finally broken by understanding and unity. Which brings us to this incredibly bitter-sweet resolution. A finally peaceful Licht and his fellow elves offer their heartfelt thanks to Asta and Yuno before their souls peacefully ascend to the afterlife. And Lumiere, his purpose finally fulfilled after 500 years, he smiles softly as he begins to fade away. He thanks Zagred for her centuries of loyalty, leaving her weeping as she reverts back to the quiet girl the Black Bulls had originally met. It's a tragic yet beautiful end to a half-millennium of pain. Section 5. Rebuilding and New Threats, a Precarious Peace. So the world has been saved, but the reality is the kingdom lies in absolute ruins. As the eye of the midnight sun falls and the elves finally find peace, the incredibly arduous task of rebuilding begins. But we do get a miraculous twist. Julius, the beloved wizard king who had previously fallen, returns. He actually used the time stored within his unique grimoire to restore his life. Though, yeah, he's now trapped in a much younger body. And while his return brings massive hope to the kingdom, he also brings a very grave warning. So, the crucial point is this. That peace they fought so hard for, it is strictly temporary. As months pass, rumors begin to spread. Dark movements are happening. A rising new power is taking shape far to the north, well beyond the Clover Kingdom's reach. And Asta and Yuno know exactly what this means. They look out at the horizon from their respective bases, their rivalry burning as bright as ever, knowing for a fact they cannot rest on their laurels. Which leaves us with a massive question to wrap things up. The world survived this war, but the next one is already taking shape. With an ominous new threat rising in the north, how will Asta and Yuno possibly get strong enough to face it? What limits will they have to break next? I'll leave you to ponder that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep that curiosity focused.